Straight ahead on WBKB, Meyer is helping to vaccinate even more people.
Plus, the health department is ramping up COVID testing, and pandemic restrictions continue to impact the grieving process.
You're watching Thunder Bay News Network. WBKB News at 6 starts now.
This is WBKB News at 6. An in-depth look at news, weather, and sports. From hard-hitting news stories to local events, we're there with coverage you can count on. You're watching WBKB News at 6.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Sherry Stewart.
And I'm Tyler Cruz. Friends and family of a Boulder police officer shot at an area grocery store gathered Tuesday to say goodbye.
It was more than a week ago when Officer Eric Talley answered the call of an active shooter at a King Superstore. He was killed along with 9 others. Talley was laid to rest at the Flatirons Community Church in Lafayette, Colorado. People lined the streets waving flags and showing support as a procession of dozens of emergency vehicles headed to the service. One woman flew in from Kansas City to show her support.
Because we all need them. We need the police. In one particular moment, you always need the police. You need someone to support you as well, and we need to show them support.
Officer Talley was 51 years old. He was married and a father to 7 children. The murder trial for former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin resumed for day 2 today.
Jurors heard compelling testimony from several witnesses, including the teenager who shot the cell phone video of the deadly arrest. Michael George has the latest from Minneapolis.
Appearing off camera, a now 18-year-old Darnella Frazier gave powerful testimony.
It's been nights. I stayed up, apologizing to George Floyd for not doing more.
She recorded the viral video of former police officer Derek Chauvin kneeling on the neck of George Floyd.
He just stared at us, looked at us. He had like this cold look, heartless. He didn't care. Defense attorney Eric Nelson questioned Frazier about the actions of the bystanders.
The volume of the people in that were bystanders grew louder over time. Would you agree with that?
Yes, more so as he was becoming more unresponsive.
Frazier's 9-year-old cousin was standing beside her as the incident unfolded last May.
I was sad and kind of mad because it felt like he was stopping his breathing, and it's kind of like hurting him.
It's been 10 months since George Floyd's death. Here in Minneapolis, many say watching the trial and hearing the testimony of the witnesses has reopened the wounds from that day.
I think about it every single day.
Pastor William Seth Martin leads a multi-ethnic congregation in South Minneapolis. He believes justice can help heal the community.
My wife, as we watched the trial yesterday for the first time, it was the first time I saw her cry about it, actually in a while. And it stirred up those raw emotions.
The defense maintains Floyd's death was the result of drug abuse and an underlying heart condition, and has defended Chauvin's use of force.
Why did she go into the store?
If convicted of second-degree murder, Chauvin could face up to 40 years in prison. That sentence is decreased to 10 years if convicted of second-degree manslaughter instead. Here's meteorologist Ellie Morrison with a first check of the weather. Ellie, what's going on today?
Tyler, we're seeing glorious weather over our area with temperatures that managed to get to the upper 60s, close to 70. We are seeing some cloud cover increasing across the area, looking at mainly cloudy skies in Alpena at 68 degrees. It's 67 in Oscoda and a little bit cooler in Rogers City at 63 degrees. With an incoming cold front, we will have a chance of a few rain showers later tonight between about 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. is that chance of rain showers. Pretty quickly it moves off to the east, and then some much colder air is going to follow for tomorrow. So temperatures this evening will be falling into the 50s, into the 40s by the early morning tomorrow, upper 20s. So we're going to need to bring out the winter coats again with those colder temperatures for Wednesday, and highs only expecting to reach the upper 30s. I'll let you know how long this burst of some colder air is going to last coming up later in the program.
Thanks, Ellie.
I think I got to find my winter coat. It's been a while since I've needed it.
Yeah, well, you better look for it. Meyer Pharmacies will now administer the COVID-19 vaccine in all of its stores. The Grand Rapids-based retailer has supercenters in 6 states, including Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Illinois, and Wisconsin. The retailer says it will administer 150,000 doses of the vaccine this week. Meyer has registered more than 2 million people to receive the vaccine since it launched its registration system in January. We have this story posted on our website with a link to register to receive the vaccine.
Sad story coming out of St. Joseph, Michigan, and a warning for people who will be around water. WBKB's Tiffany Maddox joins us in the studio to tell us how you can protect yourself as the weather breaks.
Sharing and Tyler, police and dive team members are searching for a St. Joseph man who was swept off the Silver Beach Pier into Lake Michigan on Sunday. Police say 2 men were out at the pier when the incident occurred. One man was able to get back to shore and throw a lifesaver to his friend, but once he started pulling his friend back, the other man lost his grip and went back underwater. Michigan State Police have a warning for those who may be planning to go out by the water.
We got to remind everybody, a lot of drownings occur within 6 foot of safety. That could be a dock or near the boat. So people have to remind themselves that even if you're a strong swimmer, there's conditions out there, especially with the cold water, that could prevent you from being able to swim efficiently.
Lieutenant Carroll says the MSP dive team is called out all too often for similar situations like these. He says to make sure when you are out by the water to carry a flotation device and have a buddy nearby. The Berrien County dive team is on day 2 of their search, but will continue on until they recover the remains. Reporting in the studio, Tiffany Maddox, WBKB News.
Thanks for that, Tiffany. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services is ramping up COVID testing. The health department has sent out over 1 million antigen tests to long-term care facilities. Meanwhile, over 72,000 tests have been provided in vulnerable communities. To manage rising school-related cases, the department is planning post-spring break testing in 34 districts. They'll also provide testing materials for student athletes starting April 2nd. These measures come as variants such as B117 continue to spread.
While other businesses are seeing their capacity limits increase, when it comes to saying goodbye to friends and family, the limits on funerals have not changed. 25 people. That's the number allowed into funeral homes at any given time, and it's been that way since September. Last week, a group of funeral directors across Michigan testified in front of the state Senate, asking them to increase their capacity limit.
I can safely seat 140, 150 people in my building at a given time for a funeral. So even if it was 50% capacity like restaurants, I'm far exceeding 25.
Chad Ersch, owner of Bannon Funeral Homes, has been in the business for over 30 years and has never witnessed anything like this past year.
The loved ones are afraid to hug each other. Grandma's not being able to hug their grandchildren. The emotional and the physical disconnect is just incredible.
Ersch says he feels policymakers have been non-attentive to funeral homes and the grieving process. And the restrictions aren't impacting the funeral business nearly as much as they're impacting their clients' mental health.
People are grieving by themselves. That's not healthy. We're experiencing, not necessarily in Alpena, but higher rates of suicide across this country.
Ersch says his business has adapted. They live stream services and have bought tents and heaters for patrons who have to wait outside. Right now, current epidemic orders extend the capacity restrictions until April 19th. You can find more information about this story on our website.
Some Michigan unemployment claims are set to end March 31st. This includes temporary unemployment expansions. New or additional filings within 28 days of the last day a person worked will no longer be considered filed on time. Anyone disqualified for state unemployment benefits may qualify for pandemic unemployment assistance. For more information, you can visit Michigan's unemployment website, and we'll also have this story posted on our website.
There's more news ahead for you here on WBKB. Coming up, it's my favorite day of the week, and meteorologist Ellie Morrison has your 7-day forecast next. Stay tuned.
Along with a short description to news at WBKB11.com.
Never understand how birds that big get in the trees. That's where they sleep. No. It's crazy. Coming up on WBKB News, if you're planning on exploring this summer, you might want to stay tuned, and Jake Vanderbrook will have the latest in sports. Stay with us. If you have plans to explore state forest this summer, there's an updated map to help you find your way around. Starting April 1st, the Michigan Department of Natural Resources will offer updated maps. Maps are updated annually based on changing road conditions, data cleanup, and input from Michiganders. The new maps will be available online in an interactive web format and as printable PDFs. We will have a link to the maps on our website.
That's interesting.
Yeah, should get hiking.
In health news, more reasons to exercise and how working overtime could be bad for your heart. Elise Preston has some of the day's top health stories.
Working long hours after you've recovered from a heart attack may increase your chances of a second heart attack. A new study in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology shows that heart attack patients who return to working nearly 55 hours a week are twice as likely to have more cardiac trouble. The study also finds men and younger employees tend to work more hours. There may be a link between glaucoma and dementia. Australian researchers say people living with normal tension glaucoma are 2 times more likely to experience cognitive decline. Researchers are working to determine exactly why. And lack of exercise could be to blame for 8% of chronic diseases and deaths worldwide. Researchers found middle-income nations are most impacted by inactivity. Experts recommend about 150 minutes of exercise a week. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
Sherry, it's time for our weekly animal therapy. It always
very
makes me
much.
smile. Today's pets of the week are Dawn, Kenzo, and Chanel.
We're at the start of kitten season, so we're focusing on mothers and their babies today. First, say hello to Dawn. She's the only one of her litter who hasn't been pre-adopted. She's only a few weeks old, so we don't have an idea of her personality yet. What we can say is that she's still a very clingy baby. Next, we have Kenzo. She's 2 years old and gave birth a few weeks ago. She came in with a shoulder wound, but she's healing well. Kenzo was shy when she first arrived, but has really warmed up since then. Finally, meet Chanel. She's not as open as Kenzo, but she loves scratches from people she trusts. Her favorite spot is just over the base of her tail. You can find a link to the Huron Humane Society on our website.
The first one was so tiny,
I know,
probably the
it's
size of my palm.
adorable.
Sports is coming up next, but first, Jake Vanderbrook is here with a preview. Jake, what's going on tonight?
So believe it or not, Miguel Cabrera will be starting in the infield on opening day for the Tigers. Find out where he'll be playing. Plus, Michigan's one step closer to the Final Four. So how are the young guys feeling as they get ready for their Elite Eight matchup tonight? Well, we'll tell you more on that up next in sports.
That's all we have for you this evening.
You can read more about our broadcast stories and get the scoop on other news items online.
Just visit WBKB11.com for sports, weather, and news updates anytime, day or night.
And check us out on our Facebook page and Twitter handle at WBKB11.
Be sure to catch us back here tonight at 11 with Stephanie Manici. Have a great evening.